Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Liu and I am a consultant ophthalmic surgeon at the Sussex Eye Hospital in Brighton. I was born into a medical family. My father was from Burma and that was a British colony previously, and from there he went to another former British colony, Hong Kong, to study medicine, and he met my mother. I was born in 1959 and I came over to England age 15 to boarding school. At boarding school, life was quite cruel. There was a lot of name calling, and one of my nicknames was King Rat. I don't know whether it's necessarily racism, but there was certainly bullying, and I think because my external features, that of a Chinese boy, was very obvious, and so there was a lot of name calling. When I first came to the country, I was very confused as to what sort of accent I should adopt. Obviously, I did learn ABC from a young age, but my English was not very good, and it was a long time before I reached proficiency. To begin with, I couldn't follow what people were doing, were saying, and then by the time I caught up, then the conversation had already moved on. So I always think of racism as an extreme form of tribalism. And when it comes to jobs and promotions, it is usually the case, without us knowing, that we appoint in our own image. So we have the sayings like the face fits, etc. But actually that is not right. We should appoint on ability and fit to the department or the hospital. I have always accepted, because I am an immigrant, that I need to be better than the others around me. And by better I mean like better qualified or with better experience. But I hope in the future this kind of tribalism or racism can disappear. One thing which is very important is people's prejudice and bias. A lot of it is actually unconscious, and whenever somebody tells me I've got a completely independent mind, I am not biased at all, and I don't listen to what other people say, immediately I know that person is very biased, because they're not even aware that they're biased. And then sometimes we don't even know what that is. And that's why when it comes to appointments and promotion, we need to be objective and score candidates against desirable outcomes, desirable qualities, and have the correct outcome. I think there has been a lot of improvements, and every year we have new initiatives, and I think the law has been very useful, and the Anti-Discrimination Act. But I think because racism is really an extreme form of tribalism, it's going to be difficult to root out. It probably starts from childhood, ingrained in childhood, from family and from the culture, indigenous culture. It's going to take a long time to work through. The Black History Month, history is really important, and we have to learn from history in order for history not to repeat itself. So we look back, and I think we have many Western countries who were previous colonialists, and we cannot forget that. And we have always known and been aware that black people have not been treated fairly and have not been considered to be equal. So that's obviously wrong. It's wrong for any race, but now it's really come to the fore, given Stephen Lawrence, given what happened in America recently, and with technology and social media. We know actually what is happening, and there is evidence, so this must be rooted out as quickly as possible. Within the NHS, I think BAME staff have had it quite bad, because I think COVID, it is now understood, affects BAME staff much more in terms of us catching the virus, and also if we do catch it, we have a much higher risk of dying. So in terms of my own experience, I did have difficulty, and it was not immediately recognized that I'm actually old, I am male, that puts me at risk as well. And I'm Chinese, so double the risk. With black people, 4 times the risk, I'm double the risk. And then with my various little conditions like a bit of asthma, a bit of sleep apnea and so on, and blood pressure. So all that, they were not properly taken account of to begin with. Then there was in our trust an improved risk assessment, which was a lot better. But nevertheless, I think we can learn from that and improve. The pandemic is not over yet, and now we're into our second wave. So we must, for those of us who are managers, we must remember to look after our staff. My advice to fellow BAME members of staff is that firstly, I think, love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, then other people will not love you. And also aim to grow. Grow not just personally, but also professionally, and break any ceiling that you've set for yourself, and really reach your goal.